Hello, welcome back. Hi, it's been a little bit. What has it been? 3 weeks? 2 weeks? 3 weeks, I think. I don't know. What is time? It doesn't mean anything. Anyway, hi, good to see you. My name's Heather, and I'm the host of this mess that we call The Fourth Star Knits, a knitting podcast by me, as aforementioned. I am an intermediate knitter from Chicagoland. I live here with my husband, our 3 children, and my dog Beckett, who's over here sighing dramatically because he's not allowed to sit in my lap while I'm podcasting because he's a big boy. And yeah, what else? You can find me on Ralvery as The Fourth Star. You can find me on Instagram as thefourthstarknits. I don't update either of those places very often, but I do go on there and check out what you're doing. So if you want me to creep on you via social media, follow me and I will follow you back and look at what you're knitting. Let's just jump right into it. I haven't really been doing a lot of consistent knitting. It has been hot here in Chicagoland. Oh my goodness, very hot, very sticky, so not super conducive to knitting. And also, I have been just going crazy at work. So I work for a really large non-for-profit here in Chicago, and all of our facilities are just all of a sudden open as of June 11th. Which I was not physically, nor emotionally, nor spiritually prepared for. It just kind of was like, boom, and here we are, we're open, no masks, no nada, just out there, that's great. Very, very happy that we're moving on and things are on the upswing. But again, just was not prepared at all. So yeah, a little bit of scrambling around. And this matters because I work in the facilities side of this non-for-profit, and specifically I work in HVAC. So yeah, it's hot, all the facilities are open, which means there's a whole bunch of people who need things like air conditioning, and a lot of our buildings are really old, and. So anyway, it's been a little chaotic, but that's okay. So consistent knitting has been completely off the table for a minute here, which is okay. But I don't have any finished objects. I had all the finished objects last episode, but I have none this episode, which is okay. I've been finishing other things in my life, just not knitting, which is okay. I do have a whole bunch of whips, and I've actually, as I was looking through my whips this morning, as I was kind of thinking about this episode, and yes, I actually planned this time, made some notes. You would think, so I'm a project manager, which means pretty much I'm all about planning and organization and step-by-step execution. Why I can't bring that to the podcast, I have no idea. Apparently, my brain is only that way when it comes to work, and everything else is just what it is. And now I've lost my train of thought because I'm me. What was I saying? I don't know. I was going to show you some knitting. That's what this whole podcast is about, right? Knitting? Yes, it is. Let me get a sip of coffee. This is still my favorite mug. I got this from Knit Swag. She sent it to me, and I just absolutely love it. It's so freaking cute with these little sheepies on here. Plus, I'm a sucker for anything with my name on it. They kind of stopped putting the name Heather on things after the 80s. So yeah, it's kind of hard to find stuff now with your name on it, but yeah. Okay, enough about that. Let's talk about whips. I think I'm gonna start slow and I'm gonna work up to my big whip. So first whip, I cast on, and these are just little bitties right now. I cast on another pair of magic heel socks, and I love this pattern. I love this pattern so freaking much. It's so easy. Basically, just just go download it. Just go down. This is like one of the best, just easy comfort knits ever, because you're basically just knitting a tube and it magically turns into a sock. It's amazing. I love it. So anyway, I was having this crisis because I was going to cast on 2 socks at a time. I was gonna do either like the Scatterbee socks or Hermione's or some sock pattern like that. And I had bought some yarn, which I showed off on the podcast. And then one of you kind people pointed out that it's single ply. You shouldn't make socks with single ply yarn. They're not gonna hold up. Now, granted, I probably am still gonna make socks with them, but they will be for me and I will be gentle with them. I will probably only wear them occasionally. They'll be like on the special side of the sock drawer. Do you all have that? Is your sock drawer divided like this, where it's like you've got your everyday socks that like you're not as careful with, and then you have like the special socks? So I think those will go on the special sock side of my sock drawer. Am I the only nut job who does this? I can't be. There's gotta be other nut jobs out there that divide their sock drawer this way. I know you're out there. Comment below. Let me know. Make me feel better about my sock insanity, okay? Anyway, so yes. So I had this crisis, and I'm like, well, and I didn't want to cast on, but I really wanted to knit socks, so Magic Heel it is. This yarn is one of the balls from my oft-referenced Goodwill find, where I found all of these amazing skeins of hand-dyed yarn at Goodwill for like $1 a piece or whatever, many moons ago, and I'm still kind of working through that stash. So I actually cast on a different pair of socks with this a while ago, and I just didn't like how they were turning out, so I frogged them. But yeah, I'm really liking how this knits up. It's really, really cute. I feel like this is kind of like an underwater sharky kind of palette. I don't know. I like it. It reminds me of a great white shark for some reason. So these are going to be my Magic Heel shark socks. Very excited about those. And I don't know what this is. This is some kind of sock yarn, but again, no idea. Lost the tag years ago. So be it. But it's coming to life in a pair of socks. And I've got this in my cute bag from, is this Lila Styles? I'll put a little bar below. I can't remember the name of the Etsy shop where I got this, but like, this is just one of my favorite bags. It's so cute. And away you go. All right, next up. So I finished my City Limits sweater, right? And that took a ridiculous amount of sock yarn. So much sock yarn. I can't even tell, I don't even know how many skeins I bought. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, maybe 12. So many skeins of sock yarn to do the fade, right? Which you have to do, no big deal. But I have so much left over, so much. Like I just have balls of sock yarn freaking everywhere from this. So I really, really, really love the yarn that I used. It's Direful Yarns, which is just one of my favorite. I love her colors. I love the yarn. It's so beautiful. And I just thought, well, I'm gonna like knit some stuff with the leftover yarn because I kind of missed working with the yarn. Like here's another, I guess this is the episode where I'm just gonna talk about all of the ways that I'm insane. So I guess buckle up for that. But like I get attached to the yarn I'm working with a little bit sometimes, and then I'm just like not done working with it. So like this happened to me when I made that, was it the Soldotna crop? The one with the Beehive yarns. So it was made with Beehive yarn. She's a hand dyer from the UK, or an indie dyer from the UK. And I just loved the yarn so much when I was working with the sweater, and I had a bunch left over because it was a lot of color work. And then I was like, I just wasn't done like knitting with it. So I knit like a whole bunch of hats. So in similar form, I cast on a hat, and this is the Sockhead hat by Kelly McClure. And so this is in Direful Yarns, and this is her colorway Camp Crystal Lake, which I learned has nothing to do with Crystal Lake, Illinois, but is a reference to a horror movie, I guess, which I don't watch horror movies, so I don't know. But anyway, I really, really, really love this, like this colorway. I just think it's so cool. It's really fun to knit because basically every stitch ends up being a different color. So it's mindless because it's all stockinette, right? This is the brim of the hat, which I think you can either wear like this, you can wear it folded up, or you can keep it long for extra slouch. If you want to see what these look like, I know the guys over at Needles at the Ready, Ray finished, I think, a couple of these, or maybe just one, I don't know, but you can check out their podcast. They've done some of these, and they're real freaking cute. So, yeah, anyway, so that's what I'm doing. I'm gonna knit a bunch of these. This one I think might be for me, but I'm gonna do some of these for the gift basket too, so that I have Christmas presents, because I feel like this is just like really versatile. I knit this one in a medium just to kind of see how it would work. I feel like this is gonna be okay for my head. Wow. Like I said, this is gonna be like the insanity episode, I guess, so. But yeah, so I feel like that's gonna be really cute. But I'll make more of these but like I said, I think this one's gonna be for me just because I love these colors so much. So yeah, so that's the sockhead hat. Super cute. I've got my little, so I bought, and I'll talk about this more in acquisitions, but I bought a bunch of progress keepers from Simply Serving, and I love opossums. I actually used to volunteer at it was a wildlife rescue, a very small wildlife rescue, but she primarily rescued opossums. I'll see if I can find a couple of photos of me with some of the possums. They're really cute. One in particular, he had issues and he needed to be bathed. If you've never given an opossum a bath, let me just tell you, it's an experience like none other. So, but yeah, I'll see if I can find a photo to put in here of me and some of the babies. But yeah, so that's whip number 2. And I know I showed off my Pebble Beach shawl last week, or not last week. I don't podcast every week. What am I saying? I frogged it. I completely frogged it. So I love the yarn that I'm working with. I hate this pattern. I hate the Pebble Beach pattern. It's by Helen Stewart, and normally I love her. I talk about her all the time. I am struggling with the lace pattern on this, which is super simple. It's basically just yarn overs, but the way that it is situated, it's like impossible for me to memorize. And this is a Heather problem. This is not a Helen problem. This is a Heather problem. I just can't figure it out. I ripped that thing back and started it over, I think 4 times. And so I think I was on time number 5, and I had gotten fairly far in it and then screwed up again. And I had just had it. I'd had it. And so, and it's not easy yarn to rip back because it's got a lot of alpaca in it. So it's kind of fragile. And so you have to rip it back really slowly and gently, and it tangles. And like, I lost a bunch of yarn, like maybe the 2nd or 3rd time I ripped it back. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I am just going to destroy this beautiful, I will find another pattern for this. So one of the ladies from our knitting group, Jamie, she suggested a pattern. So I might cast on that one, because that one was kind of, I think it might be better. Same concept, the pattern looks a little easier. I don't know what my problem is. Like literally, Helen Stewart patterns are the easiest patterns to follow. I don't know why I was just struggle busting this one, but it is what it is. So that one's frogged. No longer a whip, whatever. But I did cast on the Nightshift Shawl by Andrew Mowry, and so I talked about this one, I think last episode too, in acquisitions. I picked up this Norro yarn, and let me talk about this yarn. So this is the Norro Akari yarn, and it is, what is this? 26% silk, 21% cotton, 15% viscose, 14% mohair, 12% wool, 12% polyamide. So this is like, I don't even know how to explain it. This yarn is so yummy. I kept walking by it at Elgin Knitworks and squishing it. And then I was enabled by Angie from the 3-Ply podcast. She was there and she had knit a night shift with this yarn. And I was like, I was really confused because I saw this beautiful shawl that she made and it was like, it looked like she had used like 15 different colors. And if you look at the yarn that you need for the night shift, if you're gonna actually buy nice yarn in all of the different colors, I think the last time I priced it out, you're gonna spend like close to 300 bucks. Like it was so much money, which is why I had never knit this pattern before. It's been in my queue because it's beautiful. And I was like, I just couldn't see spending that amount of money. These skeins are not cheap. Each one of these is $40. So this is $80 plus the outrageous amount of tax we pay here in Illinois, which is like almost 10%. So, you know, like 50 bucks, okay? But this is gonna end up being a big shawl. And let me show you how this thing is turning out. Angie's a genius, okay? Look at this. Look at this. It is doing these color shifts all by itself. I'm not doing this. It's all the yarn. So instead of spending like 250, 300 bucks on all these different colors, I spent 80 on these 2 skeins of incredibly delicious silk, cotton, wool blend, awesome, like intricately spun, all the yumminess. And this is how it's turning out. I'm like, what? Anyway, again, Angie's a genius. This was not my idea. But she suggested this and I'm just flabbergasted. That's a word we should use more often, I think, in modern society. Flabbergasted. It's a great word. Fun to say. But yeah, look at, isn't this not so freaking cute? Look at that. It's just blending together so nicely and you get the same kind of effect of all of the different color shifts, but you don't have to do anything except for use these 2 skeins. So one's color A and one is color B. Seriously, go get yourself 2 skeins of this Norro yarn and cast on a color shift. It is so much fun this way. So much fun. So, yeah. So that's my color shift. And I've been loving knitting on this. It is so cozy. This is gonna be, look at how thick this shawl is. This is gonna be my like, I'm cold, I wanna wrap up and snuggle with something. I can already tell. It goes, like all of these colors go with like my whole wardrobe palette, so I can tell this is gonna be, I'm gonna be living in this thing, especially as we move into fall, which is already right around the corner. Can you believe this? Can you believe this crap? June's already almost over. It's ridiculous. I don't know what's happening. What does time mean? Nothing. Means nothing. But yeah, I'm so stoked about this. And I just love, like, it's one of those things where like you're knitting and like, you know, like the next like little pop of blue or turquoise is coming and you just get excited to knit those next rows. Here's another one of my Simply Serving Progress keepers. It's, what did we call this? I think we called it Toad in a Hole. I don't know. Everybody calls, so if you make this breakfast, it's a, wow, words are hard today. God, my thyroid must be all out of whack. I'm struggle bussing today. It's a piece of toast and you cut out the middle and then you crack an egg and you put the egg in the piece of bread. Oh my goodness. Let me start over. Hi! I'm trying to talk about toad in the hole, which is a type of breakfast where you take a piece of bread, you cut out the middle, you put it in a pan, and then you crack an egg in the hole that you've made, and it makes something like this. And you can cut it in the shape of a heart like this is done, or just do a circle, which is what I usually do. I usually cut it out with a glass. And then you fry the whole thing together and sprinkle it with some salt, and it is delicious. But everybody calls this something else. Like I had one friend who called it Egyptian bullseye. No idea. We call it toad in the hole. I don't know why. It does not look like a toad. And nobody would want to eat a toad that was on toast, I don't think. At least not in my neck of the woods. If that's your thing, peace be with you. But yeah, anyway. This is supposed to be a knitting podcast. Sometimes I fail at that. But yeah, highly recommend this yarn. Oh no. There we go. Highly recommend this. Again, not my idea. This was Angie from 3-Ply Podcast. $80 for delicious yarn, and you get all of the color shifts. Can't beat it. Can't beat it. And I should say, and you probably already know this because Andrew Mowry patterns are awesome, right? But I will say, I have not had to rip this pattern back once. Knock on wood. And it's really easy to memorize. Like once you kind of know like what you're doing, you don't have to look at the pattern ever again. It's 40 rows and you just repeat this like 10 times basically. So I'm just putting a little, light bulb marker here every 40 rows so I can keep track of how many repeats I've done. So I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right now. So I'm on repeat number 6. And you're supposed to do 10. So this is gonna be a big shawl. But yeah, I'm so happy with it. I love finding patterns like this. Angie, thank you. This has like been a delicious knitting experience, and I wouldn't have it unless you had enabled me, so thank you. Other whips, I did cast on my derecho tee. I'll put a picture right here, but it's literally just cast on, and that's as far as I got. I have been obsessed with the Nightshift Shawl, so I haven't been knitting on that one. Like literally I just cast it on, so I'm not even gonna show it. It looks, I was gonna say it looks grumpy. Wow. So I'll talk a little bit about acquisitions. I have purchased really not that much. I bought some stitch markers from Simply Serving, and if you don't know about her stitch markers, they are basically just these handmade miniatures of all kinds of cute things. I'm obsessed with miniatures. I was one of those girls who had not one, but multiple dollhouses, and I would make miniatures. I would make dollhouses so that I could make more miniatures for the dollhouses. I'll put a picture here, but I have like on my wall right now, one of those little curio shelves, and it's got little miniatures in it. I just love tiny things. I still have all the crap from all of my dollhouses. Like, I don't know. I envision that at some point I will be a little old lady who has a dollhouse that's just on display, and then I will decorate it seasonally and such. Yeah, looking forward to that. But anyway, I love tiny things. So her stitch markers are kind of expensive, but I just love miniatures so much and I enjoy them so much. I put them on everything. I put them on my project bags. I put them on my knitting, obviously. And for something that I see all the time and enjoy so much, I don't mind paying a little extra for. Plus, she's an amazing artist. Like, she makes all of these things. They're so freaking cute. Anyway, so I showed you the opossum and the toad in a hole. But I also got, so this is Zero from Nightmare Before Christmas. So cute. And it glows in the dark. I mean, not that you would ever be knitting in the dark, but it's really super cute. So I got that guy. I got a head wig with some owl post. Freaking cute, right? And then I got this little pile of books. Magical little books. Because you just can't have can't have enough books in your life. At least me, I can't have enough books. So the other thing that I got it's actually for this is my little knitting corner. So I bought it for my knitting corner. It's not like a knitting item per se, but it's right down here. And I'll put a picture in here so you can see what it is. It's a mini fridge. So our knitting group does virtual knit nights, like every Thursday or every other Thursday or whenever we all have time. And we usually all have an adult beverage. And what happens to me is I'll be sitting here and aforementioned big boy dog, will come and sit here, and then I'm stuck. I can't get up, right? Until he's like good and ready, or I have to dump him off my lap, which is like, I hate doing. So in my mini fridge, it holds just like 3 or 4 cans of an adult beverage. And so I can just kind of like reach around and grab myself a beverage if I sit down and I forget to bring one, or if I'm gonna have more than one and they're nice and cold. Freaking awesome. It was like $35 and I felt silly buying this like tiny fridge for $35, but also it was probably the best $35 I've ever spent. And again, it's primarily so that I don't have to disturb my dog when he's on my lap and I'm stuck in this chair. But hey, we all make life choices, and that's mine. Mine is to spend $35 on a mini fridge so I don't have to disturb my dog and I can have a beer during virtual knit night. I'm very blessed that I'm in a position where I can do that, I know. So this is one of the reasons why I don't get on Instagram, because Instagram is probably the biggest thing that causes me to shop. If I stay off Instagram, I tend to save money. But I got on Instagram today because it's just me at home right now, and I was, cruising along on social media, and so I saw that Beehive Yarns has released a Halloween advent, and I bought it. So I'm gonna pop a picture in here because I'm super excited. It's called Enchanted Forest. Hold on, I wrote it down. Yep, Enchanted Forest. And I just love, she has a Pinterest board that you can go look at so you can see like what her inspiration was. And it is just this super Halloween-y, Samhain, moody, witchy, foresty palette. And I'm just like, I'm here for it. So I bought it, and you can get it in DK, or I think it's 13 mini. There's a whole bunch of stuff. To be honest, I just got so excited. I just bought it because I didn't want to miss out on the opportunity for this advent. I didn't even look to see all the stuff that's in it. I think you get like, I don't know, like a keepsake box and like a whole bunch of other stuff. But I just love her yarn so much. I just can't tell you how excited I am about this. But anyway, so yeah, so I did buy that. It's gonna ship in September. It was 96 pounds. She's a UK dyer. With shipping for me to Illinois, it was like that converted to like $140, which is kind of pricey. But I just know that I'm gonna knit it into something awesome. I am really tempted to, again, I talk about needles with the ready guys all the time, but I got so inspired by Ray's shawl that he did with his Halloween advent from last year from Trilogy yarns. And then Chevy from Chevy Rell's Stuff, that podcast, she did this sweater with her Halloween advent, and it was just so incredibly cute and inspirational. Really, really liked that whole idea of like taking a Halloween advent and making it into a shawl or a sweater. I got really inspired by those two podcasters, and yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that. And it's never too early to think about spooky season, right? Like, at least not for me. I really, really enjoy the spooky season. So yeah, so that is an acquisition that I purchased and will be on the way in September. Can't wait. I've been trying to be a little bit more. I've got a lot of yarn right now, and I do not have a big stash. I don't have, cubes and cubes full of yarn. I just have like my one basket and the things that are in motion or in progress, and that's it. I just don't like to keep a big stash around. It makes me uncomfortable. So Chicago Yarn Crawl is on this year. I was looking through the list of shops this morning, and yeah, a bunch of my like favorite local or not so local yarn stores are doing the Chicago Yarn Crawl. So it's not just Chicago, it's all the surrounding suburbs. If you've never been to like this area of the world, Chicagoland is what we call kind of like Chicago, which we just refer to as the city. There's the city, and then there's like all of the surrounding suburbs. There's so many. It's just a huge area, a ton of people, huge population. So Chicago Yarn Crawl is divided into regions. And so most of the stores in my region, I can't remember what region number I'm in, but there's like Llama Llama Ding Dong, Yarn to Die For, I think is in my region. There's a new, or maybe it's not a new local yarn store, but there's one in Berwyn, which is not too far from me. So there's some new stores that I really want to check out. So really excited about that. And yeah, it'll just be nice to like do some stuff in person again. So if you're going to Chicago Yarn Crawl, let me know. I think it's, what were the dates? July 31st through August 8th. So it's like a week long event. So maybe I'll take a couple of days off so I can like just go like during the day and not try to cram it in on a weekend. I might do that. I have some PTO coming up, so I could do that. So that's it for the knitting content. So if you were just here for the yarny goodness and you're gonna check out now, peace, see you next time. And now is the time where I usually just kind of like chat a little bit about my life. It's, you know, whatever else pops into this noggin of mine. Yeah, so what have I been doing the last few weeks? Like I said, work has just been really nuts because everything is opening back up. And so I have been just working on trying to organize my stuff. So many projects, so many Zoom meetings. Oh my goodness. Oh, a lot of you have been continuing to send me really nice messages about Beckett. Beckett is my dog, my lab pit bull mix. He's 7 or gonna be 7. And so he has cancer. He has soft tissue sarcoma, which is a nasty kind of cancer. It's been explained to me. It's like when you have dandelions in your yard, you know, you can weed out a couple of the dandelions, but because they have this like really intense root structure, it's very difficult to just like eradicate the whole thing. So yeah, so he's having good days, he's having bad days, but more good than bad. So that's good. And we are spoiling him absolutely rotten. I have spent so much money on toys and bones and treats, and he's been getting fed lots of like steak and stuff because you know what? A dog's life is short on a good day, and so I figure, you know, I'm just gonna spoil him rotten. He's already spoiled rotten, but he's even more spoiled now. So he's got a CT scan scheduled for Monday, which is hopefully gonna tell us like how infiltrated his body is with these tumors. And yeah, and thank goodness for pet insurance because the CT scan is going to be like $3,000. Gosh, like I can't even imagine like what the chemo and radiation is going to cost if that's the route we take. Like seriously, thank goodness for pet insurance. I've been paying for it faithfully since he was a puppy, and I guess this is why you have it, right? Because otherwise, like, oh my goodness, so much money. So yeah, so that's the Beckett update. We have been lovingly referring to him as Cancer Dog because if I don't keep this somewhat lighthearted, I'm going to fall to pieces because I'm that kind of dog person where he's my baby. And yeah, anyway, so yeah, so that's Beckett the Cancer Dog's update. What else? So today is Sunday. It's Father's Day. This is like such a good time of year, I feel like. So it was Juneteenth and it's Pride Month. It's Father's Day today. I think Mercury's out of retrograde. Like, I feel like there's just all good energy right now, which is awesome. So my husband went to his dad's this morning. Well, his family is to go see his dad this morning. I'm gonna go see my dad in a little while, but we got up early and made handmade tortillas, like made them with the masa flour and rolled them out. I have a tortilla press, which is really nice, so it presses them nice and thin, then you fry them up. So he got to bring warm homemade tortillas to his family this morning, so that was good. And yeah, and the rest of this weekend has just been kind of chill. Like, I've been trying to like take some time for like self-care, which is like such a buzzword, but like I'm not big into like getting my nails done, getting my hair done. I get my hair cut like maybe 3 times a year. And like for nails, I usually like do like crappy press-ons or something like that. Like I wait until they're on sale for like $4 or $5. Or like one of my friends does like the Color Street like nail things, and so like I'll support her business, but like it's just not. Anyway, all that ramble to say, I took my husband for pedicures yesterday and it was glorious. It was so nice. And I just want to say, folks, if you are married to or have a partner who's somebody who's on their feet all day long, especially if they're like a tradesman, somebody that's in boots, and this partner is like, you know, gender's a continuum, right? So you've got like super femme people and super masculine people, and he's super masculine and feels like pedicures are not a super masculine thing to do. Just drag his butt into your local nail salon and get him a pedicure. He will thank you, because probably those folks need pedicures more than people like me, who I'm not on my feet all the time. My feet are in relatively good shape, but for those folks, they need pedicures more than anybody. So just saying, this needs to be a thing where like tradesmen feel like they can go into nail salons and get their feet taken care of so that they can put on those boots Monday morning and be in their boots 12 hours a day, 5 days a week, and someone's gonna take care of their feet. But anyway, so he really, really liked that. It was really nice to spoil him a little bit. I think I chose the pedicure that was called like, Honey Princess or something like that. It was super girly. And again, like, my husband is just like, as much as I am femme, he's like the polar opposite of that, just like the most like masculine man ever. And so it was just so funny. It's like, yes, he would like the Honey Princess foot, you know, pedicure deal, whatever. Oh, but his feet look and feel so good now. He was so happy. I'm gonna take him again in 2 weeks, I think. But anyway, so that was kind of funny. But yeah, if you work in a nail salon or you own a nail salon, you need to have like a tradesman special so that they feel like they can go in and get like the manly pedicure to take care of their feet. I think that would help things a lot. Just saying. Let's see, what else? So haven't had a whole lot of time for TV, but I have been watching Downton Abbey, which I started a while ago, and I'm just rewatching it because I just find masterpiece theater, like that kind of stuff, very comforting. I'm doing a lot of like comfort things right now. So I'm rewatching Downton Abbey. I don't think I ever made it to like the later seasons. I don't remember, to be honest with you, but I'm watching that. My husband and I are watching Startup. We started that show. There's several seasons of that available. It's really good. It's very intense. So you can really only watch like it's not something I would want to binge. Like, I don't like a lot of intense violence stuff. It's just not, it's not good for me. But in small doses, especially when the story and the characters are really good, you know, then I like to watch it. But anyway, it's really, really good. So if you haven't watched Startup, and you like kind of intense thriller, drama kind of stuff, and it's got a really interesting premise too, and the characters are good. So I'm watching that. I am still working my way through The Obelisk Gate by N.K. Jemisin. which is part of I keep messing up the name of the trilogy. I think it's called the Broken Earth Trilogy. But it's getting so good. I'm listening to it on Audible. I've got like 5 hours left. So I'm like, oh man, so good, so good. So I'm working through that. I got distracted from I was monogamously reading this book for a while, or the whole trilogy for a while. And then I got distracted because I was listening to, I listened to this podcast. So I said before, I'm a project manager, and I listened to this podcast called PM Happy Hour, and it's a couple of other project managers, and they just kind of talk about issues regarding project management and such. It's really good. So if you're a project manager or a project coordinator, highly recommend that podcast. It's really good. One of the podcasters, she recommended this book by Brene Brown. Well, she talks about Brene Brown all the time, and I'm sure a lot of you know who Brene Brown is because her work is pretty popular. But she did this. She wrote this book called Rising Strong, and it's really, really good. Like, the podcaster was talking about it, and I just immediately knew it was something that I was gonna like. And it's all about vulnerability, which is like, and I guess that's kind of a weird thing to like connect back to project management, but it's about vulnerability and like coming back from hard things, or coming back from when you screw up and how you handle that. And it's super, super interesting. So yeah, I would honestly recommend this book to anybody. It's just, if you're a person who likes to understand how human beings work, and if you are interested in things like emotional intelligence and understanding why some people come back from hard things really well and other people don't, or you're somebody who's coming back from something hard, like, this book is really, really interesting. So I'm reading that, and it's a quick read. I think it's like 12 hours of listening or something like that on Audible, and I'm really enjoying it. And then I've talked before about my love of the Little House on the Prairie series by Laura Ingalls Wilder. That was like a huge part of my growing up. Huge, massive. And again, I've been just into like comfort things. So I downloaded that series on Audible, and I have been listening to it at night like it's a bedtime story. I really like the sleep stories from, if any of you have heard of that, there's an app called Calm, and they have these sleep stories, and they're just like basically bedtime stories for adults, and they're narrated by different actors and folks who have like really calming voices. And I really, really, really like those. I sleep with headphones at night because I sleep with a man and a dog that both snore, so it's kind of like dueling snoring at night. So I sleep with headphones, so I really like to have something playing, that kind of distracts me from the noise. I also have teenagers that like to get up in the middle of the night and cook themselves, third or fourth dinner at like midnight and 2 a.m. Like, I know there's going to be a day when I wake up in the morning and the sink is not full of dishes from second, third, and fourth dinners that were made all night long from hungry teenage boys. And I know I'm going to be sad when that happens because it means that my boys will all have moved out. But some days, I'm telling you, go to bed with a clean kitchen, my sink is all shiny, and then in the morning, it's like they made like a 12-course meal at 2 a.m. Anyway, my house is loud at night. It just is. So I sleep with headphones, and I have been listening to Little House on the Prairie, and it has been great. And I'm probably going to reread the entire series because it just brings me comfort and joy and makes me happy. So, do any of you do that? Do you reread books from your childhood, like for comfort reasons? I know a lot of people reread the Harry Potter series like repeatedly as a, kind of either like on a yearly basis or every other year, whatever, just as like a comfort thing. I do that as well. I reread those books. We're actually my youngest and I, we are listening through the series, and we do this when we go back and forth from me dropping him off at his dad's house. And we're on the last book right now, so we've gone through the whole series. But we do that together only. That's like our thing. So I know a lot of people do that with the Harry Potter series, but if you do that with any series from your childhood, let me know, or any book from your childhood that you just read when you just need a little bit of like comfort and security, or you're feeling nostalgic or whatever. Again, I like to know that I'm not the only weirdo out there. So yeah, that's about it. That's everything I've been kind of doing and reading and watching and all that good stuff. And yeah, I'm hoping in the next couple weeks to finish my Nightshift Shawl. I'm sure that I will finish at least one sock and probably that hat, and maybe get a little farther in my derecho tee, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm not going to put pressure on myself. Knitting is for fun. It's to bring joy to my life. It should not be stressful or planned out too much. I feel like that takes something away from it. So, yeah. So I think that's it. Words are hard today. I'm telling you. I don't know what's going on. My thyroid must be acting up, because like I feel like my brain is just not quite firing the way that it normally should. But yeah, so thanks for joining me. Thanks for sitting and knitting and chatting and all that good stuff. And thank you so much for all of your comments and your messages. I do read everything. I don't get a chance to respond to everything, but I do read everything, and it makes me super happy. I really, really like your input. I appreciate when you see something on the podcast or like see a project I'm planning and you have input about it. Like, again, I'm just an intermediate knitter at best. And so, you know, I really appreciate like the thoughts of the community if I'm about to like go astray. That's been like the best part of this podcast, honestly, is I feel like you guys have gotten me out of so much trouble knitting wise. Yeah, that was an unexpected perk of being a podcaster. I hope you guys are having a fantastic Pride Month, Juneteenth, Father's Day, June, Midsummer, whatever you're doing. I hope it's wonderful and that you are full of peace and love and joy and all those good things. Yes. Anyway, have a great couple weeks till we talk again, and I will see you on the next one. Bye for now.